Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to go ahead and cover my top 10 niche fragrances list for the summer of 2015. I just recently released my designer list. I'm quite satisfied with that, but my more favorite list, I guess you could say, for fragrances is my summer niche list, just because there are two kind of periods that I think are my best fragrances, or the fragrances that I like the most. One is my summer niche list, and two is my winter designer list. Those two lists I think are the most fragrances that I wear outside of, everything else, and the most fragrances that I enjoy. I kind of have the feeling that, when it comes to expensive fragrances, you're really getting more quality when it comes to lighter scents. But when it comes to heavier scents, I think that, going for, not necessarily cheap, but going for, average fragrance price can still net you some of the better smelling fragrances, and you don't have to spend a lot on the darker fragrances for that. And I just don't feel that you get the same thing for the niche fragrances. In any case, I've got 10 fragrances here, and these are the fragrances that I wear primarily, and the fragrances I will be wearing for the summer. So I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the fragrance, the scenario that I actually wear it in. And as always, this is just my list. This is nobody else's list. These are the fragrances that I wear. Nobody else, other people wear them, but it's my list. And on top of that, we've got, this is the summer list, meaning that it's going to be fragrances that are primarily geared for weather that is 80 and up. These fragrances do well in the hot weather, and they're just enjoyable, mainly for hot weather and above, but I have some that kind of fit the cooler times, if you will, in the summer. Alright, so let's go ahead and get right started onto this list. Starting with number 10, we have a fragrance that was really close to number 1 for last year, and I'll explain why it hadn't, dropped on the list. That fragrance is called L'Humaniste. Now this fragrance is from the house of Frappan. This is just a fantastic, like a citrus, gin and tonic based scent, and it also has a heavy juniper scent. So it's very sharp. This, in all honesty, I've said this many times, I think is the best smelling fragrance that I've ever come across. Best smelling fragrance, and it does just an excellent job at, that casualness, and it's per wearing, it's gotten the most compliments out of almost anything that I can think of at this point. It's kind of waffled for and changed with like Express Reserve, but this really has taken the cake in terms of that. Now, why is it number 10? As many of you know, this was like number 2 on my past couple of lists or anything like that, and it threatened to be number 1. Well, the way that I wear fragrances has actually changed. So the downside to this fragrance is the longevity of it. It doesn't last that long of a time, and because of that, it requires you to either carry a little decant around or respray, or just know that the fact that it's not going to really last past 3-4 hours. Now, the way that I wear fragrances now, it's kind of changed on that. I'm no longer in a scenario where I can be constantly applying, and sometimes I just don't, just get a decant of this stuff ready. So its uses have been limited at this point now, and that's why it's, now at number 10. But again, the actual smell-wise, fantastic, and I actually think the best smelling fragrance out of all these. But it's at number 10 for its limited use. Now I just wear it, kind of casually going out. I know that I'm not going to necessarily smell great after I always smell great, but it's not gonna project like crazy after 4 hours. All right, number 10, L'Humaniste. Number 9 is a fragrance from the house of Creed. We have Jardin Amalfi. Now, Jardin Amalfi is one of their exclusive collections. You can only really get it in the flacon, which is this one, and it's it's a ton of juice basically. And there's like a little smaller one. They're all pretty expensive wise, but I chose to pick this one up because it's really one of my spring mainstays, but it's a really nice summer scent as well too, and one that I just casually throw on, lasts a good amount of time. This is like citrus, neroli, and rose. That's what this fragrance highlights, and it does have a little bit of a feminine tinge to it, but not enough to make people pause and say, oh, you smell like a woman, basically, or for guys to actually tell that to you, or whatever the case may be. You just smell good. And that's what Jardin Amalfi comes across. Definitely a unisex fragrance, so don't be afraid of it. Don't be shy just because the rose is highlighted in this one. I think the neroli does a good job of taking it in another direction as well too. All right, number 9, Jardin Amalfi. Number 8, this is a workhorse stable that I have, and that is Eau Moderne from the house of Third Man. Now, Eau Moderne, the reason why this one's up there is I tend to wear this one a lot for work. It's very light. It's very transparent. You smell good, but you're not overwhelming. People aren't really noticing you for their fragrances. So as far as compliment goes, this one isn't really a rock star in terms of compliments, but that's just because it's so light. You're just automatically smelling, pretty good. And, for that reason, it's just doing its job. Now, this one is lime, bergamot, iris, and woods. It's very simple. It's very to the point, a little bit muted. Overall, it's just a real crowd pleaser. All right? So number 8, Eau Moderne from the house of Third Man. Number 7 is another fragrance that I wear for work generally. It has surprising amount of projection and longevity. This one is from the house of Mason Francis Kirkjohn, and we're talking about Cologne pour le Matin. Now, Cologne pour le Matin, this one is interesting because it's thyme, lemon, and lime. That's right, thyme. Now, thyme is the note that I was kind of going on it and, really kind of thinking how this fragrance smells so different. It's got like a citrusy smell, but at the same time, it smells pleasant. And it was the thyme that was kind of infused with it, which really surprised me on how it actually comes off on your skin. Now, I can say that sometimes it comes off a little weird on your skin, which is one of my criticisms for it, but it doesn't stop me from wearing it just because it's one that still gets a good amount of compliments, it's safe enough for work, and it's just enjoyable all around, and I absolutely love it. Has actually a slightly cooling quality to it as well, too. So we've got Cologne pour le Matin coming in at number 7. Number 6, we have a fragrance that I've kind of used instead a lot of times of Humaniste because it lasts so long, or because it lasts longer, and that is Still Life from the house of Olfactive Studios. Now, Still Life, very similar smelling scent. Sorry, it's like citrusy, pink pepper, and there's another note that I'm actually forgetting in this one. But either way, it's a very nice, it's a well done, generic kind of citrus scent to it. So while it does smell very similar to Luminis, it's lacking that bite to it. Luminis has this bite or this jump to it that really kicks and really has you saying, oh wow, that smells great. And while this doesn't have it, and I actually say that it doesn't smell as good as Luminis, it still has a very pleasant quality, and more importantly, it has better performance on your skin. So, oh, Yuzu. Yuzu was a nice note that I was actually thinking about from this one, but my skin seems to absorb it. All right? So that's number 6, Still Life. Number 5, we have from the Blue Mediterranean house, we've got Myrtle. Sorry. There you go. Now, Myrtle it really does remind me of Italy, if you will. It reminds me of Italy because it's got a very nice sea salty, lemony, and I want to say floral vibe. Now, the main note in this is listed as myrtle. I don't actually know what myrtle actually smells like, but I know that I've smelled something very similar to it. So I can't be positive that I've smelled myrtle before, but I'm pretty sure that I have. And based off of what I'm smelling in this one, I'm pretty sure that that's what the note is coming off of those citruses, and it's absolutely pleasant. It's kind of like a casual fragrance that I like to wear in very casual situations where I've got maybe shorts, t-shirt. It's one that I wear definitely on those, and I kind of go and permeate through there. All right, so we've got Myrtle, Blue Mediterranean. Number 4, from the house of Tom Ford, actually. Tom Ford, generally known for their heavier fragrances, but I wear this one in the summer as well too, as my, I guess you could say, my night out almost heavier scent in the summer. And even then, it's not that heavy. That is Oud Wood from the house of Tom Ford. Oud Wood is one of Tom Ford's, I guess you could say, lightest releases in terms of the projection and the power of the fragrance. But don't mistake that for having poor performance. It's got great longevity. It's going to give you a personal bubble of actual scent, and it just does absolutely fine. It's constructed in a way that's not so, that doesn't make you that doesn't go cloying, is what I'm trying to say. So Oud Wood from the house of Tom Ford. Number 3 is a fragrance from the house of Creed. We've got another Creed again. We've got Millésime Impérial. This is one that I wore yesterday, actually. It was a nice Saturday, absolutely pleasant. Now this one is like sea salty madness, basically. It's salt. It's got a very nice sea quality to it. I want to say that it has ambergris in it. Ambergris aren't part of the notes that are listed, but it has this Creed DNA, and that Creed DNA tends to have this ambergris-ish background to it. So I usually tell people that yes, it has ambergris in it, but I have no way of knowing that for sure. Who knows what, you know, ingredients are being put on it. But either way, absolutely fantastic scent. This one, a lot of people have said that they don't get good longevity on this one, but for some reason or another, this one has great longevity on my skin. Well, no, I won't say great longevity. I will say probably about 6 hours. 6 solid hours of this fragrance, and then it becomes kind of like a wafty type of a scent to it, all right? So, but it's absolutely fantastic in that I can wear it in almost any scenario that I can think of. Work, casual, you know, going out, you know, on the town with Becky. It's either way, it's absolutely fantastic for that, all right? Millésime Imperial. Number 2 is another fragrance from the House of Creed. This one is a little bit more of the casual oriented fragrance, and we have Virgin Island Water. Virgin Island Water, a staple. It's got this coconut vibe to it, rum. It almost smells like a rum punch, if you will. It's got a very nice vibe to it. It's one, now on the negative side, some people say that it kind of smells like suntan lotion, and I can see where that vibe comes from, and that's because of the way that the coconut is done. But I just think it smells so pleasant, so fruity, so vibrant, so updated, or so upbeat, and that's why I choose to wear this one a lot in the summer. It's rocketed up my list just because a lot of people have smelled this on me recently and have been like, wow, that's some great stuff. You know, it makes you feel good. It's just an overall pleasant fragrance for the summer. So we've got Creed's Virgin Island Water. And for our number 1 scent, again, no surprise, if you have followed with my channel, you'll realize that this is my number 1 stunner, still there, arguably one of the best scent, or one of my best scents in my arsenal, period. We've got Bergamot 22. Bergamot 22 from House of Le Labo. This fragrance, cedar, citrus, just done. It sounds very simple, but it's just done right. It's got great longevity, great performance. It has this nice little sharp, I guess you could say, like sparkling burst off the top, and it dries down to a very very wearable, a very manageable, citrusy and woody type of a smell to it. Absolutely fantastic, and I highly recommend it. I sing its praises every year. Only downside, it's a little bit expensive. You can wear it in any type of scenario that you can think of, work, casual, date, whatever. Wear it on that, and it just does absolutely fantastic in the heat. All right? So let me know what your top 10 niche fragrances are. I know I asked what your top 10 fragrances are in my previous list, and it's perfectly fine, but if you have a separate list, feel free, let me know what it is. All right? Thank you, take care of yourselves, and you guys have a great day.